drop us a like and subscribe. Thank you. Good looking out, Jess. Always
And
forget. Was it freezing down there? You got your winter hat on in the house?
yeah, it was like 30 degrees this morning and my hair was wet and I didn't
Uh,
feel like blow drying it. I didn't have time. It's just been so busy. But so intuition,
yes.
we'll talk a little bit about what it is, how to develop it, and whatever else you think will help um in explaining it. But basically, we all have intuition. Some
Yeah.
of us, I think, were born a little bit more in tune or sensitive than others, but everyone has the capability to tune in. And if depending on how you're raised and what your programs are and things like that, I was nurtured a bit by my dad because he was like big into meditating and um I started to have I told you like very interesting experiences from a young age.
Yeah.
But I still had to develop my intuition because I couldn't tell which one was my intuition, which one was my mind. Um, so
Like emotional intuition, because you got three types: cognitive, thinking, experience, and then emotional that you can draw
yeah,
from.
no, because our mind, our ego will say something, and then the intuition is separate. And the way that you can tell the difference is your intuition will never make you feel fear or anxiety, and
Mm.
it's more softer, where the mind, the ego will be kind of more emotional driven, like, oh my God, do this or whatever. Like it gives you more anxiety.
Right.
So if you're trying to make a decision and you want to go with your gut and you want to go with your intuition, it's usually like the first 5 seconds that your intuition will come up and then your mind will start to get involved.
Yeah, I know when I
So
get that, I just know. Like I don't know why, I just know. Like for sure, no doubt, just know.
yes, and when you claim something, don't second guess yourself. I mean, that's like when you can feel it almost like to your core, right?
You know?
Um, so I shared earlier that I was talking to a friend who's away. They're out of town for the holiday, and something came up about grandparents, and mine are both passed. And, she was just venting to me about something that she wasn't happy about, and I was talking about my relationship with my grandmother and how special it was because I spent so much time with her and she understood things I went through because it was my mom's mom, and she was like really maternal. um she just was like a lovely person and a really good grandmother. So I started to kind of share, and she passed like a while ago. I was probably like in my early 20s. And then I was cleaning and organizing and I found her prayer card, and I was like, oh God. And I couldn't remember because on the back of it, it says like when they pass. And it was like kind of a long time ago, but it doesn't really feel like a long time ago because the memories are so
Yeah.
and I've been feeling her energy. And so that's intuition too. When we can feel into energy, like they're physically not here, but they're still around us. They're just like in a different dimension.
Yep.
And also when we're not near each other physically, our souls still connect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think that's part of intuition. I think that's a part of if you can get into that space, we can connect with loved ones, even if we can't physically see them. So
I had a similar story with it. My great grandmother, so a little less than a year ago, um, when I was meditating, I had some couple dreams, and my great grandmother was coming through with some stuff. Like in a couple of dreams, and a couple of times I was meditating, like kind of strong. So she died long, long time ago, but I remember her from so little. She's very eccentric. My mom was very, very close with her. So she's from Rockport. So I had no kids for the weekend. Said, it's the summertime, so I'm gonna drive up and go visit her grave because she's come through a bit, and it's nothing to do for the day. So I'm gonna take a ride up. So the day I'm gonna go, I and I hadn't thought about her in years. The day I'm gonna go, I have a drawer with some pictures in it, and I'm going to grab a couple of pictures of the kids when I go up and put them on a grave and tell them about them, whatever. And I shit you not, I go in this little photo book that I had printed out some pictures from Christmas for the kids to frame for some family. So I knew they were in there, and I opened this book and I grabbed the pictures where the kids are, and I pulled the two kids' pictures out, and there was like 5 pictures of her right underneath those pictures that my mom
Mm,
had sent me in the mail like 2 years ago. I didn't even think I had a picture of her. And I'm like, wow, that's just like mind blown type crap. But yeah, it's a similar thing. It's just like it's coming through on meditation, came through in a couple of dreams. I'm gonna go see them, and now all of a sudden I just happen to be grabbing pictures of the kids, and I find five, not one, but like 5 pictures of her. Come on, crazy.
yeah, and also when we're dreaming, we're in a more susceptible state, like our subconscious. That's why
More
they
open
say,
to receive.
yeah, so someone will come visit you, a loved one from the other side, easier in your dreams than they will like when we're waking, when we're like awoke. And also um listening to suggestive meditations
Mhm.
while you're going to sleep is also good because we're in that theta state. And so our intuition is like super tuned because our mind is quiet, it went to sleep, you know, so the mind can't get involved. So that's another good point about the dreams. And also meditating, you know. I sent you that thing
Yeah,
about
I
that
watched it.
guy.
Hmm.
So he was such a master meditator that he decided he was done here, and he meditated so deeply that he went to the other side, and they like did an autopsy on his body, and there was nothing wrong with him physically. He literally just left his body and was like done.
I believe it. I believe it.
Well, I mean, it was proven. It
Oh
was
no, it's
nothing wrong with
crazy.
him.
No, I've seen like on scientific thing on meditation where they do this monk that he leads groups and teaches or whatever. So they hooked him up to the brain scan machines, and said, okay, do your thing. And literally within 30 seconds, and they're showing a video of his like brain waves, and you see it go like from active to like down to like in like 30 seconds. And they're like, this is like the guy is in like deep, like you can't do that. Like that's not normal, but you could see all the brain activity just go down to almost nil, like instantly. It's pretty crazy. But
Yeah.
with regards to intuition, like from a scientific perspective on it, like some of the researchers say that intuition comes from subconscious pattern recognition, drawing on your past experiences. So you might not maybe thinking it, but you're remembering past experience, and that's coming out and giving you that intuition too. On a scientific level, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I mean, for me personally, and everyone I've ever spoken to that's kind of like been working on developing, it's always in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
That's the emotional chakra. That's where we feel everything. Like our stomach is, and also the heart, you know. We don't typically feel things with our heart, but it's very connected to the stomach chakra, which is our emotions, because the heart, you know, feels a lot of emotion. So I personally feel things more in my stomach. Um, when something is right or I know it's meant for me, I'll feel really good in my stomach. And then if I have like a bad feeling about something or something's not right, my stomach will be upset. It's like such a
Yeah, no.
telltale sign, but also don't get frustrated if you can't feel it because sometimes even for me, like some days I feel totally off. If I'm tired or I'm overwhelmed, there's a lot of things going on energetically. Like I gotta stop and be like, all right, I gotta like center myself. I can't feel my intuition. I'm not in tune. So, you know, a constant practice of meditating, of checking back in and also not getting stuck in our heads because no matter how much time we put towards like spiritual advancement or anything, like I still get stuck in my head. I was in it this morning. I was like,
Everybody gets there.
yeah, I mean, our mind is like super powerful, but it's also super powerful. Like it can go in either direction. You got to be really aware of what you're thinking and how to redirect if you're in a kind of a tough, if you're in a tough space in your head.
Yep. Well, one key thing I learned early on was you don't have to believe your own thoughts. And another thing I learned is smashing the like button definitely helps our channel. So do that and drop us a subscribe. Just be more mindful of doing that throughout our videos.
Yeah, definitely. All
Shameless
right, say
plug.
say more about that. Say more about that you don't have to, would you say you don't have to believe your
You
own
don't have to
thoughts?
believe your own thoughts. And that was a very powerful thing that I learned very early on is because like you said, you get in your own head and
Mm,
maybe you're second guessing something. Like you said, your energy's off and you got to make a decision, but it's off and you got a million different things going through your mind. And so you got mind, body, soul, and your soul is the conscious observer of your mind and body. Your mind is a machine. It's a computer.
mm, mm,
It's designed to focus on daily tasks, be engaged, and keep your body going at task. When you're at rest or you're not busy or your brain is not engaged, you're not doing any activities. Well, it's just going to run in any direction it wants to do, unless you do, stuff to keep it in check. Meditation, mindfulness, like you can clear out the thoughts, you can blank it out and, let it idle and just let it be. So when you're getting those racing thoughts, well, that's just your brain making connections or going down rabbit holes, as they say, that aren't necessarily there because it's doing its job. It is, if you're thinking about something and you're unsure, it like a computer, it's just going to start running models, algorithms. It's just going to be like, what if this happens? Boom, 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 like connecting
mm,
10 dots that aren't necessarily there. Or we could go this way, or we could go this way, or like doing out parallel, ways a situation can play out. And then, if one of those strikes a nerve or you're in fear, energy, or lack, or whatever, and like, oh my
mm.
God, that must be what it is, even though it's not, whatever it is about, could be about anything. But you don't have, just because your brain comes up with that thought, it doesn't make it true. I think I told you yesterday when we were talking, I text a friend of mine. I go over every year after Thanksgiving for their families just to have dessert and say hi, and see them as very old friends. And she's got like 4 kids and she's very, very busy. And I text her like, hey, get your Thanksgiving. She didn't get back to me. Now, if it was like somebody else that was lacking anxiety, like, oh my God, why am they going back? They don't like me. They hate me. Blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I know her. She's busy. She has 4 kids. And a lot of the times when we text, I'll hear from her a week later and she'll be like, oh my God, I didn't reply. And she's got 4 through 20-year-old kids. People are just busy, but in your brain, you see how that could easily go a different direction, you know.
Yeah,
So
and I want to mention something important because of the holidays. If you're in a tough place and you're like in a place of feeling depressed, if your thought pattern is, how do I get out of this? And you're kind of like stuck. The one nice thing about time is that we can make a decision to change at any time and things do not have to stay the same. So, as you mentioned, our brain is a computer and you're more electronically intelligent than me. So, my brain automatically says, like, oh, reprogram, reboot. So we can reprogram our brain. We can have a plan to make decisions to bring our life in a different direction even if you're stuck in despair or if you're stuck in depression, it doesn't mean you're going to be there for the rest of your life.
no.
It's something that we can get up and choose and be like, all right, I feel this right now because God knows I've felt it a million times. I've lost count, but I don't choose to stay here. I choose to be in peace and joy and gratitude. And you can change the direction like you're moving a car, like I want to go in this direction, I don't want to stay in that direction. So I think a lot of people that you know take their lives that struggle with depression long term is because they don't see a way out of it. They
Right.
don't realize that we can change our thoughts, we can change our behaviors, we can change our patterns, we can change our mood if we develop a new way of living. And then not to get totally off track, but the gym, I mean, the gym and doing certain things that you enjoy because the brain gets dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
The brain likes dopamine.
Oh, yeah.
um, you know, developing, God, I'm getting chills. That really just freaked me out. My hair just stood up in the back.
Yeah, I just got him too. What'd you do? I hate when you do that shit.
So,
Mhm.
well, because it's just like intuition, and I think that around this time, I myself and I, just from counseling for so many years and talking to people and being open and being receptive, because people share everything with me. I mean, even before I get into counseling, when I was in my other career, people would come up to me and just start telling me their whole life story. Like out of the blue, I would not even know them. I'd be in an airport working and they would just drop all the stuff on me and I would, talk to them. And so anyway, I think it's just a tough time, the holidays. People make a big deal about it, and it's just another day. It's just another day to, be grateful that, you're alive, or some people's parents, they don't have anyone, they maybe are alone. Like it's okay. Like it's just another day. Like for me, I mean, I don't really care, but I only do the holidays because I have kids and they like Christmas and stuff. But I don't get into the whole rushing around and getting so much food and overeating, and I just don't really like do that. I don't really buy into like all that like overeating during Thanksgiving. And I mean, I barely sit down to eat, but I am going out to eat this year because I like to like have a memory of sitting down instead of waiting on everyone.
Oh, I don't know about all that. I like cooking Thanksgiving dinner and extra, so I got like Thanksgiving dinner sandwiches for the next 2 weeks. But
All right, well, I'm gonna come over and get some from
oh, you can
Sen.
come. Yeah, I got like a 20-pound turkey. I'm cooking for like four of us, so I can get extras. No, real quick, what you said is actually great. Like, another thing I learned early on is you can make a conscious decision not to feel a certain way. Like, if you get upset, like, I don't like feeling upset. I don't like the way this makes me feel, so I'm not going to do it. It's way easier said than done, but you can literally make that conscious decision. And like you said, okay, I'm upset, something bad happened. I'm depressed about the holiday. Go out for a walk. Go to the gym. If you don't have any family or anything, go volunteer someplace and like serve. Like
Mm,
it'll make you feel good about yourself. And I get it. It can be time people alone, but I'm just saying, like, if you get out and go do something, it will make you feel better. Like, volunteering and helping other people, like, I don't care who you are, it makes you feel good about yourself, like the way you spent the day, and you made another person smile, or you listened to their problems, like whatever. All right,
yeah,
so
that's a good point. That's a good point to say that to help and to serve how we can, like on the planet, if we, you know, don't feel good about something. And also, um, claiming, I think you said it in a different way, changing the direction or whatever you just mentioned.
uh-huh.
When you claim something and you make a decision, right? And you say it out loud or in your head or write it down, that energy is strong, like I choose to be happy in this moment. And even if you don't feel happy right now, or you don't feel good about your life, still choose the feeling and keep choosing the feeling. And then the brain will follow,
Mm-hmm.
and it's training. It's like training your muscles. It's like, you can't go to the gym for 1 week and expect to all of a sudden get like a bicep muscle. Um, or to lose 20 pounds. Like you got to train that shit for like months.
Years.
Except the brain, I think it only takes 21 days to create a new habit.
Oh
And I
yeah,
think
60 days to make a routine, and it's not, yeah, I know that one.
so time, being patient, being gentle with ourselves, you know, asking for guidance from the universe, really kind of having trust and faith that things will work out. And that's not easy, especially like if you're a control freak or you want like results now, like it's tough, I have that way about me. I'm just like, no, I want things different now. I want this now. I want to manifest this now. But sometimes I'm just like, all right, I'm not in control here, like 100%. Like I'm only in control of like my thoughts, my behavior, my reaction. And that's what brings me back to center. Cause when I start to get like almost like enclosed or contracted and I'm not open, that's when I'll start to feel like negative, depressed, anxiety, because I can't like see something else happening, and we don't always have to see everything right away. We just have to try to like stay in that positive energy.
Mhm. So wrapping up for intuition, another good way is to what you said. When I get triggered or I'm upset and I want to shift and get out of like, dwelling on something or whatever, I've trained myself. What am I grateful for? Doesn't even have to be anything crazy.
Mm,
I have a roof over my head. I had food today. Got gas in my tank. Like anything stupid, but once you start making a list of the
Mm.
things that you have and what you have to be grateful for, it really shifts it really quick. So close
Good
it out.
idea.
What do you got for closing thoughts?
No, definitely gratitude, staying in authenticity, giving kindness, and then it makes you feel the kindness back because what we give, we receive, and
Mhm.
trying to always staying like a place of, love or gratitude, and just try not to look to be offended. Like, I don't know, like people are rude and they do things, and try not to take it in, let it go, right?
Like my new mantra of fuck